All right, so yes, the hearing yesterday was about how the materials that were seized in the FBI raids would be processed. That was the outward thing. But there was a big development yesterday that wound up meaning a lot. So this federal judge is saying to Michael Cohen, President Trump's attorney, you need to tell me who your clients are. One client, they didn't want to tell. But then after some wrangling, the lawyer decided to say it in open court. Who was that third client? Cohen-Hannity.
Dun, dun, dun.
Let's bring back Chris Cillizza and bring in CNN senior media correspondent and host of Reliable Sources, Brian Stelter. Brian Stelter, we care that Cohen-Hannity was this mystery, and Hannity, didn't say I'm the mystery, but the lawyer didn't want to say his name.
Right.
It matters because?
Well, something's not adding up here. Cohen, lawyer's description of the situation, and Hannity's description are very different. Hannity is trying to say there are no legal fees paid, no invoices, basically, that Michael Cohen really wasn't the lawyer.
But he thinks he has a privilege.
But he still has a privilege. This is not adding up. Fox is not saying a word about this, and it's going to be a mystery both for Hannity's viewers, as well as for his critics, as well as for his bosses now.
And Brian, I just want to stick with you for one more minute, because in terms of journalism, right, the rules of journalism that we follow, there is something called full disclosure. And it works like this. When you have a previous relationship with someone, you say something to the effect of, I worked at Fox News for many, many years and know Hannity and have always had a very pleasant relationship with him. So the viewers know where I'm coming from, okay? Hannity talked about Michael Cohen a million times. He's talked about Donald Trump a million times. He's had Michael Cohen on a million times. He never disclosed to his viewers that they have this relationship where he seeks, where he seeks legal advice from him. But Hannity gets to play with the facts in terms of whether he's a journalist or not, and he's said both.
But it doesn't matter.
He blurs the lines.
But does it matter? Does it matter if he's not a journalist? Should he have had to have disclosed all of that?
It does still matter. The disclosure for me about Hannity is that he calls me Humpty Dumpty for some reason, don't know why, and I enjoy covering him. I think he's a really interesting phenomenon because he does blur these lines. He says he's not a journalist, says journalism's dead, and yet he calls his show Real News and says he has anonymous sources. So he tries to have it both ways. He's an entertainer, but on a channel with a logo with a corner that says news on the bottom of the screen. So as a result, there are certain standards, and I think some of his viewers would have wanted to know about the Cohen relationship, even if they like it, even if they think, oh, good, my guy Hannity, he's tight with Trump's people. That would be a positive thing. He still should have disclosed it. I think this story shows us how Trump world really works and how tight-knit the relationships really are. It's a reminder about all of these men and their relationships going back decades. That could be a good thing, or maybe that could be a very bad thing in this case.
But I mean, look, Chris, I just think it's important not to get confused about what matters in this. It doesn't matter if he's a journalist or not. We have people on all the time who aren't journalists, and if they have a perceived conflict, remember, the bar is very low. If it seems like it could be a conflict, you say it.
Sure.
So-and-so is coming on, they have this relationship to what we're talking about, and now let's get after it. And this was pretty much a no-brainer from there. So now it falls to Fox News. So Shep Smith talked about it yesterday, but in an interesting way. He says, so we contacted the PR person for Sean's show, and they say this, like he was some outside entity.
Well,
that was odd, because these are their standards. It's their brand that's on his program and all the others.
I think I would urge people, and not just because he's on right now, I'd urge people to read what Brian wrote about this last night, because I think he makes the most important point, which is Hannity is bigger than Fox News at this point in some ways. He exists outside of the normal structure. Sean Hannity is not a line producer for Fox News, who, if they did something like this, would be in a lot of trouble. I think of him in some ways as, when I grew up in Connecticut, Jim Calhoun was the basketball coach of the University of Connecticut. He was the highest paid state employee. He was largely unanswerable because he was bigger than UConn. He was bigger than the president of the university because he made them money. They won national championships.
It was
That's
successful.
Hannity. Hannity is bringing them money in. That he's getting ratings, he is bringing them advertising dollars, and he is being able to write his own rules. But the thing I don't understand is he said last night in this back and forth with Alan Dershowitz, well, I have a right to privacy. This has nothing to do with your right to privacy. If I am out advocating every day for a certain kind of sandwich, and then it comes out that me and the guy who founded the sandwich company are friends, it doesn't matter if I'm a journalist or not. I am using a platform, which is television, to promote something without disclosing why I might be promoting that thing.
Great point. I mean, listen, Bill O'Reilly was big also, okay? And when it came out that he had all of these payments, these settlements to women, Fox News got rid of him. We don't know why Hannity,
But this is very different than that.
No, we have no evidence of that. But obviously, Michael Cohen's the fixer. We have no idea, okay? We have no idea.
Except he said it's never involved a third party.
That's right. That
we
was
don't know
helpful
anything
information.
different. I would not put him in the same basket with Bill O'Reilly, not by a big
to his point
stretch.
where he says you can't get rid of somebody because they're too big. Yes, you can. Yes, you
But
can.
you got to have good reason. Right now, this comes in terms of should he have
Fox
disclosed
doesn't
it?
know.
Yes.
Of course.
Fox doesn't know what it's
I'm
about
just saying that
the problems with
I
the network.
reject the idea that you could never get rid of somebody who's too big because we've seen it happen.
But the rules can be different based on someone's wattage.